On this week's partially frozen program, Dragonfire can't destroy the One Ring, nor can it warm up Sandy Peterson's ice-cold Lord of the Rings takes. The CORVID CODEX cover may be straight fire, but Paddy's hot take on Rule 0 couldn't melt the ice in my whiskey. Mr. Wargamming thinks we are all giving Jeffro the cold shoulder. BDubs IQ challenges the overnight temps for the lowest number of the week, and a dad and his kids couldn't have a water balloon fight in their skivvies tonight and be dumb enough to make this list. Welcome, friends, to Driving and Dragons and an extremely chilly episode of Intelligence is a Dump Stat, the show where our friends in the world of TTRPGs display IQ so low that the polar vortex temperatures look sunny and warm by comparison. I hope everyone is safe and warm out there and that your interest in your internet is still working so that you can like, share, subscribe, hype, and comment in the first 24 hours after the video goes live, just the way the algorithm likes it. Don't forget that all of your support, for which I'm eternally grateful, goes directly towards our dream of giving away sweet rides to members of our gaming community that have fallen on hard times or just need a pick-me-up in their lives. Memberships, Patreon, supers, all that good stuff goes towards that end. This is the last push for CORVID CODEX Volume 1. Kickstarter ends January 31st, and I will be on one last podcast Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time to push it. The Sci-Fi for Me TV stream. This project means a lot to me and to my team of writers, and you can get it at a nice discount by backing the Kickstarter. So go get your name on the list for a copy, or even sign up for the first 4 volumes. Just so you know, Volume 1 is completely finished. There's no chance that this funds and you don't get what you signed up for. On top of that, Volume 2 has most of its stories written and in editing, and several pieces for Volume 3 are already in the works. Let's bring real pulp back, at least to our little corner of the world. Alrighty, folks, on with the show. We start this week's stupidity off in the TTRPG adjacent realm of Lord of the Rings. In case you were unaware, it is the 25th anniversary of the Peter Jackson movie trilogy, so they have put all 3 extended versions back in theaters for a short time. It's been so successful that they added 5 more dates, and they are still selling out theaters days in advance. Of course, that means that Tolkien talk is all over X and Facebook. And with it, the idiotic Tolkien talk from both the Grima Wormtongues in places like the so-called Tolkien Society, and from those people who never bothered to read the books or who read them with incredibly limited understanding. For now, I'm concerned with the latter and not the Tolkien experts who labor in the darkness, allowing the evil things they have perverted to walk abroad. I'm focused on folks like Sandy Peterson, who is an expert on Lovecraft and an exceptional game designer, but is also one of the most laughably ignorant people on the internet when it comes to the professor. Now, Sandy isn't alone here. Elwy Singol and High King Fëanor over on X have been in the trenches all week living off caffeine and BC headache powder, trying to debate all manner of idiocy about LOTR. But Sandy did decide to weigh in on the complete idiocy about just flying eagles into Mordor and how that is some big plot hole, seemingly because Tolkien didn't think his readers were so stupid that they needed everything spelled out for them. Elwy had pointed out that it was clearly stated that the quest to destroy the ring always relied on secrecy, which means flying in on giant birds won't exactly work. So what did Sandy say? Well, that would be legit if Tolkien had pointed out that Mordor had air defenses. Tolkien seems to have forgotten that. Of course, Sandy also makes disparaging remarks about Tom Bombadil and claims that Peter Jackson films are superior to the books. So thinking that Tolkien simply forgot about eagles tracks when it comes to the level of barely functional retardation Sandy manages to drum up when he's discussing the greatest author in modern history. It's hard to justify this kind of stupidity with a response, so I'll just leave it that Sandy is generally pretty spot on unless he decides to talk about Lord of the Rings or alignment in TTRPGs. Tolkien. The man who had the history for each brass farthing in the bottom of Smaug's treasure hoard, documented all the way back to the Age of Lamps, just didn't think of an air attack. What he didn't think of was having readers so incompetent that they had to be led around by the nose. And apparently he didn't anticipate Sandy picking up the book. Paddy's Parlor Games took a pot shot that missed the mark this week as well. I'm telling you, the cover art for CORVID CODEX Volume 1, Kickstarter going on right now, get your copy before it's too late and you have to pay full price, is top notch. As the kids say, that artwork spits hot fire. Paddy's gaming take, however, spits hot garbage. A Reddit clip has made the rounds about some GM struggling with handling a player who said they would really be hurt and emotionally traumatized if their character dies, and rather than simply refer that loon bat to a therapist, the DM turned to the internet for GM advice. Paddy replies with a quip about how dice fudgers and Rule Zero users making fun of this guy need to pick a lane. And I hate to tell you, Paddy, but it's really the raw crowd who need to pick a lane, since Rule Zero is literally written in every rule book. I guess that rule is written doesn't count, right? And I'll straight up tell you that of all the GMs I personally know, the ones who fudge dice and homebrew liberally kill off way more characters. So even taking your premise as stated, the quip doesn't stand. It's okay, though. Just sit there and draw pretty while the theory crafters do the thinking. It's better that way. In Bro SR news, we see the first appearance of Mr. Wargamming in 2026. Old Mr. W is chosen this week to embody the lust for unearned praise and recognition that pollutes the Bro SR. As I've mentioned in the past, the biggest failing of the Bro SR is they can't simply be content with what they have achieved and earned. They demand an almost laughable level of extra credit. Give you kind of a personal example to illustrate this. I know a young man. This young man is a talented actor. He also has a mother with a delusional idea of both his talent and how the world works. He got a call back for a role in a TV show. He was told to fly to Los Angeles at a certain time and day and have a second in-person audition and discuss terms. This is a big break. The kind of thing that people work in Starbucks on Ventura Boulevard for 20 years praying for. But Mama said, "No, honey, you are the talent. They need you. They need to fly out here." Needless to say, Mama's wrong again. And he never got another call back. Why? An overinflated ego and sense of self-worth. Just like the Bro SR. Mr. Wargamming. No. Jeffro did not revolutionize RPGs. He did not introduce an entire generation to Appendix N. Appendix N was reprinted in the 5e DMG a decade before Jeffro self-published a pamphlet that has a whopping 23 reviews on Amazon. The generation isn't even aware that Jeffro exists. This kind of exaggerated hero worship and insistence that a forgotten relic of a niche playstyle is some kind of axis-shifting monumental event is a big part of why the Bro SR continually fails to garner what respect they actually do deserve. I mean, seriously, the way this group of grown men and their no girls are allowed club fawn over Jeffro, I mean, just come out of the closet and join his gay OnlyFans already. Stop insisting the rest of us subscribe to his content. Speaking of the Bro SR consistently misreading the tea leaves, Jeffro's hand-picked successor, BDubs, has finally returned to Intelligence as a dump stat. I know the bros love pro wrestling, and I'm sure it has nothing at all to do with nearly naked men covered in baby oil rubbing up against each other. So here you go, Jeffro, just for you and BDubs. Finally, BDubs has come back to Driving in Dragons. This Rudy Poo jabroni has been focused on politics and culture wars of late, so he's avoided being on this series for several months simply because he knows his role and shut his mouth. But he came out to tell us that apparently total nonstop gay stain is incredible because of DMs who are not satisfied and players who, well, he doesn't say, but I'm sure he assumes they're always satisfied, and why not? He already does that with his boyfriend. Point is, BDubs will never understand that just because one out of the millions and millions of TTRPG playgroups like his way to play, that doesn't mean that anyone else will. So he needs to take that nonsense post, shine it up real nice, turn that sumbitch sideways and stick it straight up his candy ass, because unfortunately we can smell what the bros are cooking. Last but not least, we come to an unfortunate truth. Apparently, fans of this channel are so intelligent, wise, and gifted that even when they try their absolute best, they can't quite get stupid enough to make the cut. I've come to realize that there are some out there in this wonderful hobby of ours who see appearing on this series as a kind of sign of arrival. It's like New York. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Well, the crew over at D&D Dad and Son tried their level best to artificially be stupid enough to get on the list, and I'm sorry to say, you guys just can't make the cut. You hit all the best hits, Watsy Orc, Stupid Art, Green-Haired Woke-Tard, Culture Warriors invading the hobby. But here's the issue. To be here on Intelligence as a Dump Stat, you have to naturally do something incredibly idiotic. You have to say or do something really stupid and actually mean it before realizing that you may have miscalculated. Even I, a bonehead that I am, can't try to get on IAADS and actually succeed. So I'm sorry, but hold on, wait a second here. Did you try to get on this list and not even think to just say something that is anything less than lore perfect praise for J.R.R. Tolkien? You did, didn't you? How dumb can you be to go through all those Mexican orc pictures and weird gay Hogwarts prom photos and not even think to say something like Tolkien can't write good characters or Balrogs have wings, so why didn't he just fly when he fell off the bridge? Seriously, if anything shows that you used intelligence as a dump stat, it's actively trying to get on this series and forgetting to disparage the professor. Sheesh. All right, you can make it up by sending a BC headache powder to I'm the Klotz who thinks Game of Thrones features good writing, 12375 Long Bottom Leaf Way, South Farthingshire. That's it for this week, folks. See you guys next time.